After a certain point, you have to start going after the trans people. I don't think that's a bug in his argument. I think that's a feature. I'm 100% certain it's a feature. So, we do a lot of reacting to the Daily Wire videos, right? Whether it's the videos that their staff produces or the articles written on their website. Well, you know, sometimes we got to talk about them advocating for violence. That's a thing we got to do. And let's be very, very clear here. State-sanctioned violence is still violence. You don't just go while a police officer is beating you with a baton. It's technically not violent. It's technically not violent. Meanwhile, my temple gets smashed in. That's not a thing you generally do, right? You recognize that when violence is happening, it's violence. Period. I preface that because I've been arguing with people on Twitter. Not something that I recommend doing. Not something I recommend ever doing. But I've argued with people on Twitter that have done the whole, like, yes, all homosexuals should be killed. Oh, but not by me. No. The government should do it. And I'm just like, wow, you fucking coward. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the article. But first, let's go ahead and look at the fan art section. Cursed place that it is. This one is from Fluffer Bakura. Said, I finished it. Woo. I am pretty proud of how it came out. Which, you know, I would be proud too. This is the face of a menace right here. This is the face of somebody who is ready to do mischief. The next one we have here is from a Nubian. Said, ha 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 ha. I told you I'd do it. You better show Rhino. Well, I ain't doing that. But, so apparently it is my face on Rhino, Rhino's face on me, and then, I don't know what that is, but it terrifies me. As always, everybody, thank you all for the fan art submission. Ran the fool. 50,001 channel points? Really? Really? We just began. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Fine! Fine. Thank you for dropping 50,001 channel points, Ran. Eat shit. Oh, woo. There. You won't get the satisfaction of whatever you were looking for. Anyway, as always, everybody, thank you for your fan art submissions. Stop making me say dumb shit, and let's go talk about the article. Whoa. So, from Michael Knowles, the law is a teacher. He said that last month as he launched into one of his darkly minstrel rants about punishing trans and LGBTQ people. But for Knowles and his colleagues at the Daily Wire, it seems the law is more like a weapon and one that they feel increasingly comfortable aiming at their perceived enemies. This year alone, hey, J-Man Productions, thank you for the follow. Axo, thank you for redeeming your points for an Alwal. This year alone, several of the site's marquee stars, including Knowles, Matt Walsh, and Candace Owens, have called for massive expansions of the death penalty and the prison industrial complex, and have celebrated state-backed repression of ideas and freedom of assembly through bans on books and LGBTQ events. Taken together, these calls to expand state capacity to reinforce existing racial and gender hierarchies by targeting those who deviate from or challenge those structures articulate a broader ideology, with the unambiguous goal of using state power to make life in the United States intolerable for anyone they label as a disfavored group or organization. On May 23rd, the Daily Wire announced that it would begin working in a partnership with Twitter to stream its shows for free on the increasingly extremist-friendly platform. It remains to be seen what effects this will have on the Daily Wire's overall reach, but the move signals the outlet's potential ascension, or at the very least its aspiration to serve as an alternative to Fox News, which, you know, we saw when Fox turned on Trump. We saw a bunch of people fall out from them and start going to places like One American News Network, Newsmax, and just a lot of the other more right-wing areas of the internet, more right-wing news organizations. That's a thing we watched happen in real time. We'd be seeing it again. We would easily be seeing it again going forward. But the joint effort with Twitter will also increase the ability of Daily Wire hosts to directly affect government policy. For instance, Walsh was an early supporter of a Tennessee bill, now a law, that prohibits gender-affirming care for trans youth. The outlet already has a sizable footprint on Facebook, generating millions of interactions through its anti-trans content. At the same time, YouTube has, at times, demonetized or suspended the Daily Wire for violating the platform's anti-hate speech policies. Conservative media have historically embraced the rhetoric of small government while simultaneously advocating for expansive big government policies that entrench existing inequalities. Right-wing media have long advocated for using state power to control abortion and reproductive rights, and to limit marriage rights to heterosexual couples only, and to prohibit and penalize the use of racialized drugs, to expand policing in majority black and brown communities, and to construct racist legal regimes, such as Jim Crow. That suite of policies in no way represents a small or limited vision of government. It exerts tremendous coercive power over individuals' daily lives. Also, thank you, Nami, for the hydrate. So, the thing is, with all of this, what you've got to remember, ultimately, is that while we do hear the rhetoric constantly that the government shouldn't be involved in X, Y, or Z, we also hear from the other end of the mouth, but now is the time. Usually because the LGBTQ community has pushed people into some semblance of desperately needing everything to be taken care of by the government. Now is the time to start retaliating against the woke mob. Now is the time to start retaliating against people who are just trying to let other people know that, hey, trans people exist. Gay people exist. It's completely normal for people to exist the way that they do, whether they be gay, trans, or heterosexual. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. But they pretend it does at places like the Daily Wire. They argue it does. But then when you point out that, hey, you're the one making a mountain out of a molehill, they'll go, no, 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 no. Look at the pride pins. Look at the trans pins. Look at the pride flag. Look at the different days that people are celebrating different pride things. As soon as they start doing that, as soon as they start going that route, they start pointing their finger at stuff that really doesn't matter. They start pointing their stuff at things that don't affect them at all, but they have to pretend it does. They have to pretend it's going for your kids, it's attacking American liberties, it's forcing everybody to compel to woke mob bullshit. That's what it is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they have to make mountains out of molehills and then pretend that they're not doing that when you point out that that's what they're doing. They'll go, no, 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 no. It's the trans people. I don't celebrate my identity every day. It's the trans people. Of course. Current right-wing punditry, especially at the Daily Wire, has abandoned even the fig leaf of a small government rhetoric. Daily Wire hosts now openly embrace the power of the state to punish, imprison, and kill those under its control, as the examples below, all from this year alone, demonstrate. The Daily Wire's approach to the death penalty, just execute them all. This was, I believe this one was actually from Matt Walsh, right? Among Daily Wire hosts, yep, Walsh. Walsh is the most open in his desire to use state power to execute people he has deemed undesirable. As Media Matters previously reported, Walsh praised Governor Ron DeSantis for signing a bill in early May that would expand the death penalty as a potential punishment for people convicted of sexually assaulting a child younger than 12. The new law is in direct violation of Kennedy versus Louisiana, a Supreme Court case that ruled the death penalty is available only as a punishment if the offender murders the child as well. So, of course, it's Walsh? Yeah. Walsh's endorsement of DeSantis' new law needs to be understood within the larger campaign right-wing media have waged against LGBTQ communities. Over the last year, conservative pundits have resurrected the myth that gay people, trans people, non-binary people, and drag performers are somehow a threat to children, referring to them as groomers or pedophiles. Florida's expansion of the death penalty under the guise of protecting children is in fact an extension of the state's totalitarian project to eliminate trans people from public life altogether, a goal that Daily Wire hosts share. Does it have another example here that's not just Walsh? Because, like, we could wax lyrical about all the problems with Matt Walsh, but there's more here. The Daily Wire's vision for using police and prisons against its enemies, we have to stop them aggressively by force by law. Which one is this? The death penalty is the ultimate form of state violence, but not the only one. As the above examples demonstrate, Daily Wire hosts frequently fantasize about incarcerating their declared enemies for extraordinary length of time. Oh, does that mean that we actually have other moments in here that are not just Walsh? Because all the clips are Walsh. Hold on, let's Let's see here. Knolls? Yep. Here we are. Hangings in the town square or their contemporary equivalent would also have the added benefit from Michael Knowles' perspective of foregrounding Christianity in public life. And so we live our lives trying to put it out of our head, but death is very important, Knowles said. It's one of the four final things. Death, judgment, heaven, and hell. I'm pretty sure judgment's not final, and hell and heaven aren't final either, based purely on the fact that I'm pretty sure either of them exist. That's just me, though. But he says, you're living your life as a preparation to die, and you need to be prepared for your death. In May, Knowles offered his own circumscribed support for DeSantis' bill to expand the death penalty, again appealing to the Bible's authority. I am so tired. I am so tired of somebody going, well, technically this thing should be good because the Bible says it's good. Meanwhile, we go into, like, Numbers and we find an abortion potion, and if we go into Deuteronomy, we find passages about how, like, it's not rape if the woman doesn't scream. God, sucks to be mute.
Isn't there a law from the government that specifically states separate church and state?
It's one of our amendments. Yeah, no, that's the Establishment Clause.
That is literally a grounded American fact.
Yeah, but especially in places like the American South, hi, I'm here, people seem to think that's a matter of opinion. And this is why people like Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court is a constitutional originalist. She doesn't believe in the fucking amendments half the time. You know, like the first one, like the free speech one, you know, and the second one, you know, the gun one, definitely. Only the Constitution as originally written.
As an American, you are entitled to believe whatever you want. That doesn't make you right.
Nope. I wonder what they've got in here about Shapiro. Because here's the thing. Matt Walsh is a masculine cis white guy. Michael Knowles is a pretty fucking effeminate, but masculine cis white guy. Ben Shapiro is goddamn fucking Jewish. He would be on the chopping block in this type of regime. I don't know if people remember, you know, the super funny poem. The first they came for the communists, then they came for the socialists. And then eventually they came for me. And there was no one left. They were all gone. So, I don't know. Maybe Shapiro doesn't realize. But let's find out. Let's find out. Wow, there's nothing in here about Shapiro. Interesting.
It's not if Shapiro's very smart.
Interesting here. That's fair. Where is... I wonder then. Yup. I knew Candace would be in here. Let's take a look at this one here. There's one other... Okay, so actually this is mostly focusing on Knowles and Walsh. So Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, two of the people who would be, again, most likely on the conservative chopping block, if they needed to be, because they are both minority groups. They don't get as much mention in the article for Media Matters. That's kind of telling... Actually, because most of the actual full-on genocidal rhetoric, most of it, not all of it, is coming from Knowles and Walsh. It makes sense that those would be the two that are being focused on in the article. We don't need to go into the entirety of the thing. Like, we know Michael Knowles, one of his most famous things was going at CPAC and talking about how we needed to eliminate transgenderism from public life. And just like, Michael, I have a question. How the fuck would you do that? That's the plan. How do you eliminate transgenderism? Because if it's about ideology, like he pretends it is, then how do we eliminate Christianity from public life? That's ideology as well.
Just throw them all in
you would need to get rid of all of the Christians in order to get rid of Christian ideology. So how would you get rid of the trans ideology?
Just make it legal.
After a certain point, you have to start going after the trans people. I don't think that's a bug in his argument. I think that's a feature. I'm 100% certain it's a feature.
Does he work for Blizzard?
What's up?
Does he work for Blizzard?
I don't think he does, honey.
Well, then it can't be a feature if it's not a bug.
That's not a Blizzard thing, though. That's Bethesda.
I mean,
So let's get rid of all politics. Yeah, I wish. Look, I don't agree with Vosh on everything, but there is one thing I definitely agree with him on. Politics are fucking dumb, but very important. And I hate that. It shouldn't be a thing that dictates our everyday lives, and yet it does. And Stoff is crying out for help in the chat, and that officially means you should not help Stoff. Let them suffer. Let the jellyfish melt. Axo says, horses? No. Razor says, let's move to a technocracy? No. No, let's not do that one. Stoff says, my friend group is arguing whether or not they can date me. Stoff, you're the one that gets the final say in it, and, you know, you're probably going to say yes. You dumb sloot. Species says, help? No. No, this is not going to happen. So that would be a good answer to the Family Feud style questions. Name something you hate that's impossible to avoid. Politics.
Waking up.
I said, let's move to a dictatorship where only the degenerates lead.
Yes.
I
The
don't
Sexocracy.
need Saki in charge of my life that way.
The horniest people shall rule this world.
Help? 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 Stoff says 2 of them are siblings, and they're now salty over which one can ask me out first. Stoff!
Date 'em both.
Figure that shit out. Have fun. Date them both. It's only weird if you make it weird. That it's funny you think Saki isn't in control of your life that way already. She's not. I think. Hold on. Honey, is there something you need to tell me about?
Under the laws of Saki, I plead the first. I must.
What is the first?
I don't have to stop anything. Nope.
That's the 5th.
Nope. It's the Saki laws. It's the first.
The first of
From
what?
all.
How many of these are there?
To be determined. It's like the amendments.
I need help.
Forever.
I need help. I'll call the future king of Gondor, but he's busy doing ranger thing. Okay. Obviously, we've hit the end point of this conversation, because now I have to question several of my life decisions. There's no helping you? Yeah, I know. I'm aware of that. So, the insert end video tagline here.